Alrighty. Hey everyone. Hope everything is good. I have we're making this video specifically to talk about our experiences with the match. Well, all of us matched, thankfully. I mean, kind of matched.
We
Uh,
did, yes.
but want to talk about our experiences and just give advice for people and give advice even for programs about the process. So let's start with just quick introductions, everyone, so we can start with you, Pete.
Sure. So my name is Cade Johnson. I am here at OUHSC as well. I'm more focused on the diagnostic side. That's where I applied for my residencies. And just some brief background on me: I went to Texas A&M, and my degree was in nuclear engineering. So
Thank you, Kate. Hello, my name is Gilberto Gonzalez. I'm a fourth-year PhD student here at Oklahoma as well. I'm on the therapy track, radiotherapy, and so I also applied through the match, and I got matched to a very nice program, which we'll probably talk about in a bit. And funny enough, before coming here for my PhD, which is CAMPEP, I did a master's degree in Germany. And before that, a bachelor's in biomedical engineering in Mexico.
So I am Seif, and I don't know if I ever introduced myself on the channel, but yeah, I'm Seif. I'm also doing my master's, same cohort as Cade here, but I'm on the therapy side. Also participated in the match this past year. This year, not this past year. This year, and got matched, thankfully. And yeah, Gilberto was actually the cameraman for a while during the WFM, all
yeah,
the
all the
videos.
nice
He
angles.
was he was behind the scenes. So I guess let me start off. So just for the people who might not be familiar, so the match is just so in medical physics we do our graduate program. We do a graduate degree. Like for example, me and Kid are doing masters, Gilberto is doing PhD, and then you apply for residencies through the match system, which is pretty similar to med schools or how doctors also get their clinical training. You do a residency for 2 years, and then you are board eligible to take your boards and practice as a certified medical physicist, either in the diagnostic track or the therapeutic track. So it's nice that we have a mix of people, Kate doing the diagnostic and we're doing therapy. So the first thing that I want to talk about is just experience in general in the match. How was it? How were your expectations going through the match? And were you stressed? Were you nervous? What times, like how did this stress or what were your thought process going through the match up until uh, match day or up until you took your offer?
So yeah, as a
You can get it closer to you.
yeah, sure. As a diagnostic student, we definitely have a lot more places to apply to. There's probably, I think, 20 or so available. Some of those were only PhD, some may consider masters as well, but uh, I would say like we have a fairly low optionality, and that can work for and against you in lots of cases. And for me, I ended up applying to about 10 places. I heard back from maybe 7 of them, which it's one of the things is kind of stressful and a little annoying is some places may just not send you a response at all, which just seems a little strange. There's really no indication why they would send you a response or not. So that's one interesting factor. I don't think it's necessarily a negative. One place doesn't send you anything. You may still hear back from others, and you may still be considered a good enough candidate. But again, going back to the unique experience with diagnostic, there's much less applicants than there are in therapy. And now, in that case, it may be a little easier to stand out, which I believe was true in my experience because here at OUHSC, we get a lot of clinical experience, typically way more than pretty much any other master's program has. And so, especially on the diagnostic side, there's a lot of very clinically focused and clinically oriented residencies who see that as a big strength that, hey, I've seen plenty of CT inspections, x-rays, I've seen it all. That was one of the big things that kind of helped me stand out. And then again, just kind of with the logistics of it, each program would probably interview for the diagnostic side. It would maybe seriously consider around anywhere from 20 to 35 applicants, which not a whole lot. And so I ended up going with an off-match residency, I didn't actually interview with a whole lot of places because the off-match residency, which you don't go through the whole match process, you don't go through the wondering if or where and all the ranking. You kind of just so essentially how it worked is they gave me an offer the day after I interviewed and I accepted it very soon after.
So
And
lucky.
then, yeah, didn't have to deal with the stress of where am I going to end up? I don't know all that. So that was like one of the very big strengths for me of why I ended up choosing that program. Uh, I really liked the people there. It was seemed very strong. I had a good connection with a lot of them, and uh, it was one of those things where it may not be my favorite program. I may through the interview process find one that I like more, but I knew that I would have a good time there, a good experience, get the education I needed and the training I needed there, and maybe at worst it would be a top 3 place anyways. And I really like the security of, hey, I have an offer now, might as well take it. So that's generally my general experience with the match. Ended up kind of cutting out early. So I only had a few interviews with match places, and those went generally well. But early on, I got the off match offer, so I ended up going with that.
I want to add a little bit to that, Kate. I think residency is a very personal journey. Some people have certain preferences, like, oh, I really want to end up close to my family or whatnot. Other people do not really care. Depends. Some people might be older, they might be even married or might even already have a family. So it's really hard to be able to narrow down options. However, to that point, I think it's always very interesting having that certainty that you already got an offer is just so tempting. It's just so tempting.
It's very hard to say no.
Yeah, it's very hard to say no to. If I had gotten that maybe that's why that's one of the reasons I didn't want to apply to places that did that, because first of all, for me, there most of the places that did that they're not really places I wanted to go, just for preference. But if there was, let's say that there was one, right, where it would have been very hard to say no, right? So I just want to bring that as well. But I'm very happy that you guys have.
It was kind of there was a bit of a happy medium there, I guess, with my situation because I generally wanted to stay around Texas. That's where I'm from. Just getting that offer, it's like it wasn't. This place would be a top choice for me anyways. So if maybe one I might like one place better, but do I really want to risk?
It's not worth it.
The match there's the one big downside is there's a lot of uncertainty with it. So it's nice to have a place like, hey, I'll really like this place. It's one of my top choices, and I have the offer right now. I'm gonna take it. So.
So I guess you were really lucky that the offer was from a place that you really wanted to live in. So anyway, back to my own experience. Again, I believe this will always be very different for everyone. For me, I was not particularly stressed because I already had work experience from Mexico as a staff clinical physicist. I have already done treatment planning, and I'm finishing a PhD here. I have a good collaboration, some papers published and whatnot. So I was confident already that my qualifications were very strong to apply to any places. Many people joke around and say PhD people that have clinical experience, they get to pick. Yes and no, because it really depends where you are applying to. Some places, even one place even ghosted me. I never heard back. That was interesting. Another place, I really want to apply, but if you're an international student, that makes things a little bit harder because depending on visa issues, some places might not want to deal with all the paperwork and legalities and policies that have to come with an OPT. But that's for another question. I'll just answer now the question that you were asking. I was not particularly stressed. I applied also because I applied to a safe amount of places, a little bit less than 20. However, honestly speaking, for me, my personal preference was on my top 6 or 7 places. But other than that, you always need to be on the safer side of things. So I added a few more for backup. In the end, I got a really nice rate between the number, like probably only 3 places didn't interview me, and I didn't pass one of the first screenings. But other than that, I would say more than 80% I got to final round. So I was not particularly stressed. But then again, this is because I did PhD. If I were just in master's level, I think I would have added probably a little bit more numbers just to feel more safer.
Safer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting to talk about like the factors. I think it's gonna be a different experience from someone, from each person to the other. Definitely, like certain things can make it more stressful if you have a family, if you want to move close to family, and this is, your life depends on it, or you're taking your wife and kids and moving. That definitely makes it much more stressful. Uh, if you if you're international, I have to. I mean, I don't know how much information is out there, but like it can impacts you negatively in very few places because just some places don't take international students or don't take like people with work authorizations. But that's kind of my very minute minority, like maybe 3 out of 50 programs,
Mhm.
very little. So I wouldn't say it's a big factor. I think for me, I think the stress going through the masters, going through the program in the beginning, the stress was much bigger there because you're always thinking about that day. I think for masters level, there's, a lot of, internet warriors on Reddit, oh my God, the match so difficult. And it is, not to say the match rate is not the prettiest. However, there are certain factors that can help you a lot. Definitely coming from this program in itself can help a lot in terms of clinical experience. You talked about this. I think that's the major
Yeah.
factor that can help you get interviews. Aside, of course, from the basics, recommendation letters, personal
I
statement.
want to add something to that, and I want to see what you think about it, Kate, as well, from the diagnostic perspective. People say, "Oh, look at the Reddit forum, look at the Excel spreadsheet from the Google Docs." There are people that are there all day just refreshing the spreadsheet and trying to see for any tips, like, "Oh, this place already sent out. I want to rank you email, or they already sent out the invitation for a screening or whatnot." And people get really anxious. Again, I'm saying this sort of maybe biased because come from a very good qualification perspective,
Hmm.
but I want to say to people who are just getting on the field, try to become a candidate in such a way that you don't care about the, don't play the mind games. That's my suggestion. Focus most of your free time in shadowing and learning so you can add those lines to your CV. Luckily enough, our program here in Oklahoma has so many extra hours of clinical task. Yeah, we get a lot of QA experiences. We get to be firsthand on hand with the faculty, so we really use a lot of our time. It can be very stressful and tiring, but by the time we graduate, we're very familiar with many and this is very important because you're going to compete with other people that may also claim. They might also put on their CV, "I have experience with this," but here's the difference. People can tell when you're talking about a procedure, depending on your experience, it gives away whether you understand it. And there's a difference between shadowing for a weekend or 2 weekends against months of work.
Yeah. So to kind of build off that from the diagnostic side, it's basically the same. Like the more experience you have, the more they'll notice. They can ask you questions during your interview, like, "Hey, what about this process like stands out or is like difficult or something?" And if you've done it a lot, you're going to give an answer that's obvious to them. It's like, okay, well, this person's obviously done CTs before. He's done fluoros before. He knows what's up with what are some of the challenges that you face. And then kind of build off that, one of the other things I noticed was really helpful to me and other programs notice as well is if you're interested in specializing in anything, that makes a big difference. So for me, I'm very interested in nuclear medicine. I want to eventually get my nuclear medicine certification as on top of my diagnostic imaging, and kind of making sure that they understand that you are very interested in this specialization makes you stand out. It's like, okay, this person kind of sees where they want to go in the field.
Yeah. I think to build on top of this, like you said, I think yeah, having people. So we talked a lot about like what gets your foot in the door, gets you the interviews. Here's the thing: after the interviews, once you get the interviews, I can't, of course, read the minds of the interviewers what they're looking for. However, I do think that the credentials on paper, everyone looks pretty similar, especially once we're interviewing 20 people. right? They look very similar on paper. Maybe someone did something special, etc. What stands out then is your interview experience, how you present yourself, how you sell yourself, how you align very well with the things that this program is looking for. If they're looking for someone who is more research oriented, which is still can be a possibility for, a master's student, like the program that I matched with is, very heavy on the research side. So some programs are heavy on the research side, some programs are just like, no, we don't really care about research, it's just clinical. To a degree, you have to read the room, you have to present yourself in an adequate way to that program. And I think another factor is, yeah, like they want to know that you know what you want to do. You're not, oh, I heard about this residency, this is what I need to do in order to work, right? No, you want to know, have a plan in your head. They want someone who already kind of has an idea of
Knows
what they
what they
want to
want.
do.
Yeah. So, thank you, Seif. So, yeah, my experience with that is to build up on what you said. Also, expect many kinds of different interviews. Some interviews might be a little bit more chaotic than others. Some, oh, oh, we got a earthquake situation here. There we go. Oh, welcome back, everyone.
What were you saying?
So I was saying that you should expect many kinds of scenarios. Some places might do, if you're lucky enough to get to final round, they might even invite you over. Some places might have really long interviews, like with presentation about your research, even though they're not like a research-oriented institution. Some places might ask you to do more like a personal takes. And there's some institutions that do something called structured interviews, which is interviews where they're not supposed to react or give you a big follow up because it's just like they're already scoring based on certain answers. So, as you already said, Safe, you should really, and this is something I learned over my first 2 or 3 different interviews. You're gonna get the same questions over and over and over. So it's a good chance for you to start learning more about yourself and also be very clear when you answer questions. So.
The thing I wanted to get to is maybe the most important thing that's kind of talked about the least is how much they actually like you as a person.
I wanted to talk
Yeah,
about
yeah,
that. That can be our final remarks.
Yeah,
I really
yeah.
wanted to talk about that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The like obviously you're going to be working with these people for at least 2 years. They're going to see you every day in the office. They're going to have to show you things. How teachable are you? Are you very open to like, hey, I don't know. You kind of can admit, I don't know nearly as much as you guys. You guys are the ones that are going to instill
Teaching
this
you.
into me, and I'm going to try to take that as much as I possibly can. That's a very important thing, but they have to be able to picture you, okay, am I going to get annoyed by this person working with them every day? Are they very unresponsive? Like when I talk to them, like how you come across, like just in a face-to-face conversation is very important. Like you could, and obviously you can still kind of bring your personality across while you're in the interview, even if you're really nervous. I was very nervous in all mine, and you can kind of still show who you are.
Yeah. I guess you had something in mind. I want you to go first.
Oh, thank you.
With this
So,
subject.
to that end, I think a vital part of the interviews is how you get along with the current people, the current residents mostly, because they're not typically closer to your age compared to faculty, typically. And also, they're going to be the people you're going to spend the most time
Sharing an
with.
office
Yeah,
with.
you're going to share an office with. And again, to what you said, Kate, yes, you might have a lot of qualifications and be too confident, maybe hopefully not too cocky, or you might be very insecure and be like, I just got into this field 2 years ago. I'm just a master's student. I'm so scared. Like
Yeah.
I only done maybe my program didn't make me do any clinical QAs, and I only seen maybe TG51 once, right? Doesn't matter. If you got to the final round, it means they are very interested in you. You only need to show them that you're a humble person who wants to learn and be part of that. You want to be a hard worker. I mean, of course, that's the point of residency. You're gonna work a lot. You're gonna learn a lot, and the main goal is for you to be able to support them, be part of a team, and also do your studying so you can pass all your rotation exams. Typically, so just remember that. Go back to the basics, basic values. Just be a nice person in overall. You should really learn about yourself so you are aware of your shortcomings. Like I know I'm a very temperamental person, so I need to learn to calm down. Or I know I'm a very shy person. I need to be able to tell you who I am. So I think it's a good chance for you to practice and learn more.
A few moments later.
Side to side. Now I'm gonna give this back to you.
Yeah, I mean, your I guess, yeah, you have to reach this balance between, being confident but also being trainable is very important, because they want someone who's easy to work with, right?
Can I give you a quick example?
Yeah, yeah.
I come from PhD. However, I've seen many cases that are people in master students that have already work experience as maybe medical physics
Mhm.
assistant, or just by their own lives, which you're gonna get to learn because they're your coworkers. You should get to
Yeah,
know
yeah, yeah.
the people that you work with. Maybe not become
We
besties.
joke about this a
Yeah.
lot.
Maybe you're not gonna become besties. Who knows? But you should get to know them. They're people that you're gonna spend a lot of time with, and you need to trust them, and they need to trust you. So anyway, again, many PhD programs do not come with clinical experience.
Mm.
You should be humble enough to be like, I don't care your degree. If you know more than me, you're my senior already. Please
Yeah.
teach me.
Yeah.
Please teach me.
Yeah, this like eagerness to learn,
Yes.
I think is the thing that I've felt is most wanted from residents. It's just this sign that you want to learn, you're eager to learn. I think I would say this is by far the most wanted factor. Um, kind of as a final note to people, to people who are about to go into the match. I know it's a stressful time. I know there are, depending on your personal situation, it can be very stressful because your whole future depends on it, right? I think just trust yourself, trust the process. You don't know where life is gonna take you, and to some degree, I know it's stressful, but it's also freeing. I think for me at least, the a stressful time became, I think, one of the most stressful times, and I think Gilberto would know, is after that week when you submit your rankings, where you can't change it anymore, and you don't know where you're gonna end up. This can be a stressful time, but at the same time freeing because all the possibilities are open. It's very exciting to think that I can end up there or here or here or here.
Yeah.
And I think cherish this. And also, I think interviews in general are also a good time to actually build connections with people because they know you for the first time, they meet you, they get to see the person that you are. So it's a very nice opportunity to see other programs, see their structures, and see what really makes a program stand out over the other one. That you wouldn't actually like. You would be a lot of things that you would consider or you think would make you really like a place might be destroyed right after the interview, or a place that you might not be interested in, or you're thinking the location is not great, and then you have an interview there and you're like, wow, this was such an awesome experience. So
Yeah.
keep an open mind. Uh, just kind of to wrap up, anything else that you guys wanted to hit on?
I'm gonna give my final opinion. This is just personal. Of course, anyone can take whatever they want from our messages here. My opinion for people who are gonna apply next year is once you make it all the way to the final end, be very proud about yourself. There are some places I didn't got to the one of the places I was really interested in, but I'm very proud about myself that 100 or 200 people apply,
Yes.
and I was able to be
make
on
it.
the last round. So that's already really fulfilling experience. And just my personal opinion, rank, put everything on the balance table: your personal life, your career goals, and rank on your preference. Do not play the mind games. Yes, you can check out the chat and Discord and Reddit for funsies, but do not overthink it.
Yes.
Think this is a very personal journey.
Yes.
This is a journey for yourself or your loved ones. So rank on your own preference.
Yep. And then I guess with my unique experience not being in the match, if you get an off match residency offer, it's very freeing. You don't have to go. I was able to cut off the process very early. Oh, that's okay.
You can repeat that. Yeah.
I was able to stop the interview process very early because once I accepted the offer, I don't really need to interview with any other places I applied to. Let them know, and I was kind of done. It felt really nice, and I'm curious to see. I wonder if more programs may consider uh, exiting doing the match, because I'm not sure exactly what benefits they get from doing it. We'll kind of just see where that goes from there. But just my thing, I was very fortunate to kind of not have to worry about any of the extenuating factors. I kind of got to a place where I wanted to, and that was it.
Thank you, Seif, for
Yeah,
this
no, thank you,
opportunity.
guys for making it. I hope it's helpful either for applicants or either I think even program directors, because I think one thing that I will end this with for program directors or people with residency programs, the bar to stand out as a residency program, not as an applicant, is very low. Is very low. Like there is so little work that you need to do to make your program stand out for the majority of the people and make it easier for yourself to attract the best applicants, the best talents. So because again, I mean the name of the game is that there is more applicants than places. So yeah, the bar is very low, and yeah, I hope this was helpful for everyone. I hope you enjoy this video. Leave the like, the subscribe, all the good things. And yeah, we have our forgotten warrior over here, Mr. Gilberto, our cameraman for a while. So thank you, everyone.
See you
Thank you,
all.
Seif.